During the next half hour, we'll show you how Catholic Charities is reaching out to those in need. You'll meet a priest from Australia who sang his way to international fame. We'll see how a community pours out its love and appreciation to a retiring Catholic school principal, and we'll talk to Cardinal Blase Cupich about the continuing immigration issues. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Hello, I'm Todd Williamson, Director of the Office for Divine Worship with the Archdiocese of Chicago. And joining me here in studio, as always, is Cardinal Blase Cupich. Cardinal, it's good to see you.
Thanks so much, Todd.
Good to have you
Great.
here. Listen, a lot has happened in regard to immigration since we were last recording this show, and a large focus has been placed on the separation of children from their families. You were very quick to issue a statement on this.
Well, and I joined my brother bishops. So we talked about this in Fort Lauderdale. It really is very difficult to defend separating children from their parents, especially when we're talking about toddlers.
Right.
I can imagine any parent sympathizing with these parents who have their children taken from them. I mean, who changes the diapers, who comforts them, who tucks them in bed at night? A stranger does, someone that they don't know, and a person who doesn't even speak their language. So it really is something that no one can defend, and we need to solve this. I was pleased that it was stopped going forward, but more needs to be done now to reunite almost 2,000 young people. We have about 70 of them here in Chicago. We need to reunite them with their parents again and then move forward. I think that's very important. But the other thing that developed this last week was that the House was considering some legislation to move forward, and it failed again. The real issue here is comprehensive immigration reform. We need to put everything on the table and take care of this issue, because it's not just about the people who are escaping violence in Central America and Mexico and other parts, but it's also the 11 million people who are here already, who are working, who are paying taxes, who yet don't have a path to citizenship. And of course, fixing the DACA program, where we have many young people today who gave their information to the government, thinking that in fact they would be able to stay, and yet it seems as though that is in jeopardy.
This is an issue that the Church should be concerned with.
It's a human rights issue.
Right.
It's a pro-life issue for us. We believe that, first of all, as a country of immigrants, we're faithful to our heritage when we recognize the contribution of immigrants. We're all sons and daughters of immigrants, unless we're Native Americans. Let's keep that in mind here. But the other piece is that you have to treat people with respect. When we said in our Declaration of Independence that all are created equal, all men are created equal, we didn't just say Americans.
Right.
This is about human dignity, and so we have to make sure that we're true to our own declarations and our own Constitution.
You mentioned the statement from the USCCB when you were there at the meeting, and the Pope, Pope Francis, he issued a statement of support for you and your brother bishops.
That's right, and I cited that in my statement as well, to make sure that this has broad base of support across the Church.
What else came out of that meeting of the U.S. bishops in Fort Lauderdale?
Well, we talked about a number of things that had to do, of course, with some liturgical documents that we passed on.
Right.
And it was also a moment for us to speak about how we're going to move forward with any statement that we have with regard to principles that people should take into consideration as they go to the polls, not only in the midterm elections, but in 2020. Our document, Faithful Citizenship, has served us well, and yet it was clear that given the teachings of Pope Francis, it needs some sort of updating. And so the bishops agreed that we would update it in the form of new documents and resources, as well as videos, that would take advantage of the teaching of the Holy Father, but also that we would come together this fall and have a review of that, so that it would have to pass by 2/3 of the bishops. what that does is it provokes a conversation about very important issues in our society today. And I think to have the bishops stand up and discuss among themselves, even argue various points, is a healthy exercise for our country.
Yeah, there were new medical directives that were discussed and put out.
Right, that was what they call the ERDs,
Right.
and that is to guide hospitals, Catholic hospitals, in terms of various procedures that fall within our ethical and religious directives, the ERDs as they're called. And we wanted to make sure also that we took a look at the changing landscape of how hospitals operate. So often, the central location of a hospital group is located in one diocese and has an impact on other dioceses where there are these hospitals belonging to that group. So what is the dialogue that has to take place, the collaboration between the diocese, the host diocese, where the central offices are, and the individual dioceses where they are? And so it clarified that there has to be that kind of collaboration take place.
Wow. And I also understand that there were updates made to the charter for the protection of children and young people.
As you know, we authored the charter in 2002, and then also the essential norms that were issued by the Holy See following that. This is a document that continues, that needs to mature because of our experience. And so, for instance, we updated it in view of some of the things that the Holy See said about child pornography some years ago. Now we also have to look at the issue of how we do the follow-up with victims to make sure that they are treated with respect, how making sure that we're clear about reporting measures, that it is also important for us to keep our promise with regard to the yearly audits. So it was an opportunity to have some updates, not significant, but it shows that this is a changing document. When we met in 2002, 16 years ago, I was a fairly young bishop at that time. I was just ordained 4 years. But I remember the importance, the urgency of us to make sure we get it right. I think we did some good things in 2002. We need to keep our eyes focused on this.
It needs to be an organic document, right? I mean,
Yes.
it needs to develop as...
Because we learn from our experiences.
Right, exactly. Very important issues. I want to change the topic just slightly, bring it a little bit back home. Let's talk about Catholic Charities. It's been very busy for Catholic Charities. They dedicated the Augustus Tolton Peace Center that serves the Austin neighborhood.
Right.
And then a few weeks ago, they also opened up a laundry and shower service at its main building on LaSalle Street. Our TV and radio office was at both of those dedications. Let's take a look at that.
Oh, great.
There's so many ways we try to bring people together. In the people of the Austin coming together, coalition here, in all the many ways that we try to sit at the table and try to be able to listen and to try to be able to figure out ways that we can reach out and help people and to bring healing to them into their lives, but also maybe help them if they need food or shelter or clothes or other ways that we can help and provide them.
Here at the Peace Center, for short, we offer a gamut of services. The Catholic Charities, I would say the general services, senior services, case management, youth and adult counseling services, and we're really focusing on services that will provide people relief that have experienced traumatic situations. So we have a community-based intervention prevention for youth ages 16 to 24. We go into schools, and those that have been a perpetrator or a victim of gun violence or any type of violence, we have those services. We have services for those that have lost a loved one to suicide, but more importantly to someone who's been incarcerated, to talk about their situation and hopefully find relief. Statue in the Garden, what a profound artifact, or architectural sculpture. I believe that you can look at that and feel the pain, that person that has experienced violence, but then look again and see Jesus and the heartfelt empathy that he has and the want to save you from your pain. want to save you and deliver you from that pain, to let you know that life can go on. You can have peace, remember the good times, and be okay with the loss in the sense of that you're still here and you can make a better world.
This center is a statement that the Catholic Church and Catholic Charities wants to walk with people, wants to accompany them, is here to stay, to make a difference. And so as we dedicate this center today, I want everyone to know not only how grateful I am to Catholic Charities and working with the Austin Bank in making this possible, and all of our donors as well, but to tell the people in the neighborhood, we are here with you. We're here to stay.
The Holy Father recognized that care of the poor must extend beyond sustenance to services that recognize and support the dignity of each human being. So following the example he has set in Rome, we are dedicating today the Pope Francis Ministries, free showers and laundry facilities for our guests, and a new kitchen to prepare the nearly 2,000 meals that are served here every week. Our guests will have the comfort of a warm shower, free toiletries and clean clothes, and bedding. They can choose fresh clothes from our closet and enjoy a nutritious dinner. These small mercies, which most of us take for granted, can help preserve health and restore hope to those who live at the furies of society.
What we are doing here is exactly what the church should be doing. We are putting faith into action. And for over 100 years, Catholic Charities has been doing just that, looking for ways to serve the poor, to be a part of the community, and to put our faith into action. We are looking for ways of how do you help the vulnerable? How do you help the poor? And how do you do so in a way that is respectful and full of dignity to those that we work with and to those we serve?
St. Vincent de Paul told us, "Your love is inventive unto infinity." So we ask your blessing as we rededicate the St. Vincent Center building to the poor. We ask you to bless our newly established Pope Francis Ministries, which include showers and laundry facilities for the poor and the homeless. We dedicate this American flagpole in the garden to the late Commander Paul Bauer for his extraordinary 31 years of service to the Chicago Police Department, and in recognition of our thankfulness and gratitude to him as the commander of the 18th District. We ask, too, that you bless our remodeled St. Vincent Centennial Garden and our commemorative brick pathways. The people whose names are on these bricks are precious to all of us. May their names and our love for them be in your presence always.
Two needed services for the poor and for the Archdiocese.
Well, yes, it is important to make sure that we're always following the growing needs of people, and we want to do that. But I think this is also a story about, for instance, the Austin Bank building, where the Austin Bank people gave this building so that we could have this Peace Center there, which is going to provide a safe haven for people, job training, counseling, ways in which people can feel as though there's an oasis, and sometimes in the midst of a lot of violence and poverty. So we want to build these various sites in areas that need the most attention. And so this is just the start of our whole anti-violence and peace effort.
Wow, wow. And then, of course, the laundry and the shower facility, following the lead of Pope Francis, who established and opened public showers for the poor in Rome.
Well, it does. It treats people with human respect. We all know what it's like. Even if we're, for instance, out getting exercise or on a hot, sultry day here in Chicago, and not having the ability to shower and to really feel like you're refreshed and clean. So everybody has that aspiration, and we have to make sure that we treat people who are living on the streets people who are homeless with that kind of respect.
Do what we can to care for the poor.
That's right.
You know, Cardinal, we're recording this right before a very historic weekend in the Archdiocese of Chicago. There will be the creation of 6 brand new parishes as a result of the Renew My Church initiative. Talk about that and where we are with Renew My Church.
As you know, we went ahead with organizing all of our parishes into groupings. We've activated some of those groupings to begin the process. And it is an opportunity for people, first of all, to really know the situation of their parish. A lot of times we have not shared that information, not just financially, but demographics, where we see the parish going in the next few years because of an aging population, or maybe people changing in the neighborhood. So we have to make sure that we plan for sustainable parishes long term. People feel the pain of this because their own church was important. This involves some closing of parishes, but also some merging of parishes. But when we do merge them, we give them the opportunity to say, okay, what do you want to be called now as your new parish entity as you come together, rather than taking one of the names and not
one of the others,
the others,
right?
yeah. So that there is a new opportunity, and so there's some newly canonized saints. There's Divine Mercy is one of them because of Divine Mercy Sunday. There are other opportunities for people to see names of parishes change, but those sites are going to be open, and they're still going to have the same name of those parish sites or those church sites.
Right.
So it'll be the same church name, but a different parish configuration.
To build a vibrant Catholic presence in that part of the Archdiocese.
That's sustainable, that's vital and vibrant, that has all the resources they need to have real programming on a basis that is going to enrich the lives of people.
You know, that whole idea of a vibrant Catholic presence, a big part of that are the young adults in the Archdiocese. We had great potential in our young adults, and that potential can be seen this past week. The Theology on Tap Summer Speaker Series got off to a great start. Nearly 700 young adults showed up at the Fremont in Chicago's River North neighborhood. They were treated to a performance of Father Rob Galea, Australia's X Factor contestant. He's an author and founder of FRG Ministry. Father Rob talked about his interesting and challenging background with Father Tom Rosica of the Salt and Light Catholic Media Foundation in Canada.
This is my story, a story of grace, a place coming from this place of desperation, a place of hopelessness, a place of violence, to eventually discovering a hope that changed my life forever. And this is what I do with the rest of my life. I'm not ashamed of the darkness of my life. I regret hurting people. But you know what? One of the things that God does is He takes our mess and He turns it into a message. And this is one of the things that sometimes we're ashamed of the darkness in our life. But if we take that darkness and surrender it to God, that mess, that very mess, becomes a beautiful message to give hope to other people. And this is what this song is about. It's called Only by Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, no longer blind, I see. I have chosen to run this race, determined to reach the end. 'Cause I have forgotten it's only by grace that I can see your face. Only by grace the eagles fly. By that same grace you'll lift me high. I lift up my hands to you. It's you alone who can show me the way to the Father's throne.
Almost 700 young adults.
He was an impressive young priest.
Yes.
You know, he's originally from Malta.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and he was a recovering drug addict. Came into the priesthood, had an experience of his own faith life with Christ, and now is released from Alta to work in Australia.
Wow.
It's quite a compelling story, and he has a wonderful voice,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah. One of the, I heard tell from one of my colleagues that was there that the line of the young adults to get into the Fremont went all the way around the block. Someone stopped him and said, well, what's going on? And the young adults said in response, we're here to see one of our priests rock it out. So,
Oh, I see. That's good.
but to be able to gather that many young adults in this church.
You know, I want to make sure that we really understand what this is about. It's not just about having an outreach to young people. It's in a way of enriching the life of the church through the energy, the faith, the drive of young people. It is not just a matter of saying we would like to have more young people participate in the life of the church. They already are participating. I want the wider church to realize how impoverished we are when we, in fact, don't invite them, and how enriched we are when they do come in.
You know, there's that adage that is really incorrect, where they say the youth, they are the future of the church. No, they're not.
Yeah.
They are
They are
the
the
present
church today,
right?
and I'm enlivened every time. I had a chance to be with Father Razika and Father Rob the next day just to talk about their impression, and they said a lot is happening here in Chicago. This is a place where things really take place, and so I was glad to hear that.
That's a lot to be excited about.
Yes, yes.
We ask our viewers to stick around, because when we come back, we have a heartwarming story about a retiring Catholic school principal here in the Archdiocese. Stay with us.
We have great news about Catholic education from two of the best-known Catholics in the Chicago area, Cardinal Cupich and Sister Jean.
I'm here with Sister Jean in a Catholic school classroom, and Sister, we have something in common.
Oh, Cardinal, we each have a bobblehead.
Well, actually, Sister, I was going to say that we both benefited from Catholic schools and were taught by the sisters.
Oh, yes, we were, and it was the best education, faith, values, and how to love people of all backgrounds.
Unfortunately, many parents can't afford to send their children to Catholic schools, but now there's hope. A new tax credit scholarship program here in Illinois offers scholarships based on need, so students can attend a school of their choice.
My scouting report helped the Loyola Ramblers this year, and my scouting report on a tax scholarship is that donors will get a 75% state tax credit.
Sister Jean, that's a win-win for donors and for students who get the gift of a Catholic education.
Speaking of a win-win, I think we should both have our own bobbleheads.
Now, Sister, that's what I call a slam dunk.
To find out how to donate and get your tax credit, go to archchicago.org and click on Tax Credit Scholarships. Thank you for supporting Catholic education.
Welcome back to Catholic Chicago. Cardinal Cupich, we just saw that TV commercial that you did with Sister Jean of Loyola University.
Well, she was a dear. You know, she's got such charisma about her. As an individual who is very generous with her time, she immediately said yes, she wanted to be a part of that. She is a product of Catholic education, but also one who taught. So she felt very strongly about it. And the tax credit scholarship, you know, is helping a lot of people, young people today. We have over 50,000 young people who have subscribed for scholarships. Unfortunately, we're only able to fund a fraction of that. We want to build that fund more and more. And so hopefully people will follow up on this a little ad that we have together, and also maybe have a laugh about our two bobbleheads.
Exactly, right. It's all about Catholic education, and there's another Sister Jean that we want to celebrate.
Yes.
The retiring Catholic school principal, St. John Fisher Parish, 3 decades of service. Our TV and radio office was there at the celebration, so let's take a look at that.
Oh, wonderful.
Summer is upon us, and students all over the Archdiocese are celebrating their last day of school. Here on the Southwest Side, they're celebrating for another reason, though. Longtime principal of St. John Fisher School, Sister Jean McGrath, is retiring. Students, staff, parents, and even neighbors surrounded the school as Sister Jean is taken for a celebratory parade lap.
a tremendous outpouring of love that Sister Jean will remember for the rest of her life. A wonderful tribute. How lucky our school has been to have this fine, wonderful person lead our school for 31 years.
It was a great event today. You know, I never thought it'd be this crowded, getting all those kids here early in the morning. That was really unique to see. She means the world to a lot of people. You know, she's been a mother for people that needed a mother. She's been an aunt. She's been a friend. She's been a leader, a principal. So people that know her, people that are from the community, they really look to her for all answers and how to get through a lot of things. So she's been just a real strength and a real cornerstone of this neighborhood and of this school, obviously, forever.
30 years is a long time to be in one place. What kept Sister Jean going for all those years?
The spirit of this community, the trust that people put in you. You know, they're sending their most precious thing to not only to be educated, but nurtured. And so I think the knowledge that together with parents we can make a difference in these children's lives. We can provide a faith development and a sense of prayer and reliance on God's grace. How many other ministries impact that many people on a daily basis? So I believe so strongly in Catholic education. This has been the most bittersweet experience of my life. Absolutely. I've been a religious sister for numbers of years and have loved being here. But just to watch the faces of those children is an amazing thing. Amazing. I feel so richly blessed that I, in some way, have been a part of their lives and they're part of mine.
The St. John Fisher family gathered together for their end of the school year mass, with their guest of honor seated with her family in the front row.
We say God is good, we say
all the time.
I say all the time.
God is good.
How about we say Sister Jean is good?
All the time.
All the time.
Sister Jean is good.
So now that she's retiring, what's next for Sister Jean?
I would like to continue doing work in my religious community with the Sisters of St. Joseph. I would like to do some volunteer work. I'd like to continue to be a part of the community here in some way, whether it's tutoring or, you just can't cut everything off at once. So I will stay involved somehow. I don't knit, I don't crochet, I don't play bridge, so I better find something to do when I grow up.
Students from several grades took one last opportunity to show Sister Jean just how much she means to them. At the end of Mass, Sister Jean addressed her students one last time.
Please remember to be good, to stay good, to remember to pray, just like we've prayed so often, to remember to be kind, because that's the best gift we can give our world. And because you've done all of that for me, I am forever grateful. How lucky can one gal get? Blessings.
I'm Brian Brock, reporting from St. John Fisher School in Beverly.
What a nice story. What a great story to end on. Being driven around the neighborhood in a convertible Mustang.
I think so. That's a nice way. I'm going to have to plan my exit strategy, something like that. That's very dramatic. But it does say something not only about Sister Jean here, but all of the religious women who have built our schools and contributed so much. So I congratulate her and wish her well, but also want to have a shout out to all the religious women in the Archdiocese who have done so many good things over the years. God bless them all.
Yeah. Excellent note to end on. Cardinal, as always, thank you so much for spending time with us. Thanks for being here.
All right.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching. I'm Todd Williamson. We'll see you next time here on Catholic Chicago.
We invite you to watch segments of Catholic Chicago and hundreds of additional Catholic videos at youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.